Hello, my lovely child of the internet. It is I, Multi12679, other known as Multi-Man, and welcome back to another lovely episodic release. Not really. This is just a follow-up from last year. So probably up in the top right-hand corner of the video, with an annotation to where I was talking about last year, beginning of last year when I was getting into video games. And this is a follow-up to me getting back into certain video games such as fighting games. After about a year of, playing them and learning how to play them, this is the follow-up video that I'm going to be making all the way after the fact. So let's go ahead and talk about video games, shall we? So first off, I would just like to say, since the last time we talked about fighting games, at least for me, I was telling you guys that BlazBlue Cross Tag was the first time I actually played a 2D fighter and actually was starting to enjoy it. Now, for all intents and purposes, since that video, I will be honest with you, the gameplay that you're seeing isn't BlazBlue Cross Tag anymore. No, it's not that. It's actually the much more superior Melty Blood Type Lumina. So, as of last year, basically, my whole goal last year was not only just to make YouTube content or find a new job or find the love of my life or all these other things and survive COVID-19. No, one of my goals was to work on trying to, be better at a genre of video games that I'm really bad at. So, I finally dipped my toes into the fighting games. So, last year, like I said, I started playing BlazBlue Cross Tag because I got that near the end of the previous years, and then I was playing it a whole bunch up until the beginning of last year when I made that video. But in this follow-up video, I just wanted to talk about basically all the fighting games and stuff I've played since then. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and begin. Now, throughout all this video, I'm only going to be showing Type Lumina gameplay because, for me, this Type Lumina, Melty Blood Type Lumina, is the fighting game that I finally found my calling for and actually was willing to improve myself past the point of just playing mediocrity. I would like to say that the level of how much I've been dedicating to this game has been on and off, yeah, but I can definitely tell over this past year of me playing fighting games has exponentially increased my proficiency in playing them. To me, that's kind of astonishing, considering I thought it would take me like years and years to be able to be competent in playing them. But after going through all of last year, I honestly am surprised of how actually competent I am. And, the only thing I do have a problem with is that I'm the type of player who probably could be better than he is if he didn't want to just do funny stuff or potentially try to do cheeky things all the time, instead of just doing, what works and not deviating from the path. But I was always a type of person, both with making content and also, as you can tell, playing fighting games. Uh-oh, the power just went off. But in any case, so, as of last year, I'll talk about all the fighting games that I went back and decided to play after falling actually quite in love with BlazBlue Cross Tag. So after playing BlazBlue Cross Tag for, I would like to say it was about another month or so before I decided to stop playing the game. It's not that I thought BlazBlue wasn't that good, it's just that I felt like, because at least with where I got it, I got the Switch version because it was on sale for like $7, so I got it and then I played it. And there wasn't as big of a fighting game crowd for that game on the Switch than it was on like the PlayStation 4 and whatnot. So, and I didn't want to rebuy the same game on a different console, because at that point I already knew I would have to relearn how my button memory and stuff for the different controller, and I was not about to do that. But I will say that since I didn't rebuy the game for a different console, I then decided, what other fighting games did I have that I just haven't played in a while? So, let's see, I think for the next little while, I decided to go back and dabble into Dragon Ball FighterZ for a little bit, and that was back when the big update last year happened, where a lot of people can change their assists to be either beams, or attack assist, or other support type assists, which is nice because it was a fresh take and for me a new learning experience. Actually now conceptualizing the fact that thanks to BlazBlue Cross Tag and me wanting to get a little bit better at that, I started to learn how to actually play different games. So I was like, okay, this is kind of sweet. I kind of understand how to play Dragon Ball FighterZ now. I ended up playing up until I think I got like, what, Super Saiyan God, which isn't that good, I don't think. Or Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God, I forget which one it was. But also this was at the peak popularity, I think it was at the time around the peak popularity of that game, and also where they were starting to implement things that everybody really enjoyed that reinvigorated the game for a lot of people. Me personally, the only thing that was a downside when learning that game is that there's a lot of characters in that game, like a lot of characters. And you know, one of the most overwhelming things about fighting games that I've learned that I both like and also dislike is that, yeah, there's characters for everybody, but you also have to learn every single character that you have to fight against to learn what they do, so then you can at least protect yourself from what they can do. Because even if you don't play the characters, you kind of got to learn what they can do in their kit, or they'll just kind of mollywop you because you won't be able to predict or react in time to everything that they just throw out at you. For example, Super Saiyan movie Broly. Oh boy, he was a real fun person to try to learn how to combat when I was trying to play online with people, and I'm just like, man, this DLC really hurts me. I don't like this. Same with UI, Goku, and all these other DLC characters, because honestly, I forgot I bought the expansion pack, the first one, for when the game originally came out, and I forgot that I had at least a whole bunch of the first round DLC that I didn't even know I had. So then I was like, oh sweet, and then with the roommate at the time I was living with, we went and we played that and we learned our characters and yada yada and so forth. Also I learned that people don't like playing with me because I start getting very good at games very quickly, and people don't like when I do that because, as you know, fighting games are very competitive games. Me, I don't mind being competitive in these sorts of games, but I rather just have fun until I get tired and then be like, I can either autopilot or I can just stop playing for the day, because I don't commit more than like maybe like 2 or 3 hours. That's probably highballing it if I play these types of games. And most of the time I'll play like for an hour, take a break, and then maybe come back on later in the day. Or for the most part, I just kind of just go, if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. If I start playing a few rounds and I'm like, I'm not feeling it today, then I'll come back later. Considering I'm not a competitive gamer at heart, I'm more of I like teaching people how to play video games and also helping share the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of fun that these games can provide, even if you're a newcomer. Because my whole channel is based off of that, with making episodic videos of series to help people, you know, if they want to play along with me or learn certain things that they don't want to go out of their way of doing, they could watch a series or a certain part of a series and they could learn stuff. I mean, there's more better, probably, informational videos, or you can go to other sites to go and get the TLDY of everything. But, you know, my whole stick of playing video games is, hey, I want to share this thing with you. Would you like to play it, or would you like to learn it? Because I would teach you, and then you can become better. And because I know when I fight people online in fighting games, I learn now what potential is, and how when I fight people, I'm like, yo, certain people who are lower ranked than me, I'm like, these guys actually have potential, and I would like to play them again so they can get better. Because they already can, like, almost beat me or push me to my limit and actually have to try it. So I'm like, oh man, this person has potential, and I like that. A person with potential means that they can go pretty far in like life and in other games, just by being able to have more potential and the willingness to learn. Or adapt, for that matter, because adaptation is kind of the name of the game with fighting games, which is exactly what happened last year with me learning how to play them. So, with that rambling out of the way, we'll move on to the next game. I actually only played Dragon Ball FighterZ for a little bit. I think I only played it up until, I think it was like May, around the time I was starting Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. And again, I'm not gonna bring up that game too much, but I then also went into a regression of being like, well, I don't want to play fighters anymore, because People on fighters are kind of lame. They jump in the corner a whole bunch, and I'm like, I mean, you can adapt to grab them and kill them with your combos because you know how to play the game. But also, I'm like, most of the people are just using DLC because they would rather not learn the game. They'd rather just use the few broken moves that a character has, and that's it. And I'm like, that's fair, but this isn't very cool or fun anymore. Because if you're not going to try to at least be cool, then I just feel like I'm just beating mediocrity who thinks that they can become better by using DLC only and not actually learning fundamentals and stuff. Which, to each their own. Like I said, they probably may be just playing for fun like how I am. So, I can't complain about that. But I also like giving people a challenge. So if I'm not making somebody sweat, or if I'm just doing something to be doorknob, and just being so predictable on how I'm supposed to be fought, then that's not fun, right? So moving on, we went and I decided to look up some other fighting games that I had. I did have a Blaze Blue fighting game, but that one I was a little bit indifferent about because of the button controls and stuff I wasn't very used to. And also the way that game worked was highly, like, that was for people who definitely were playing video games and fighting video games way back in like the early 2000s, because like me learning some of the stuff in that game was like, oh, I'm never gonna complete this combo list, like, or even get halfway through it. So that one was a short venture, because also the online there was barely anybody online for that Blaze Blue game, so I basically didn't get to learn anything. Because I think that was a re-released PlayStation 3 game for the PS4. But whatever, it's fine. And then we moved on to, what was the next game? Oh yeah, 100 Night in Burst, because I forgot that they had a PS4 version that you could buy. So I bought that, and I started playing online, and I started playing that for like in between when I got finished Nocturne. So around like July and August and September, I started playing that for a little while. Was on and off with it because, again, for me, I was like, this is a good game, and I do like the character I like playing, and I do feel a lot more comfortable with the controls and stuff in this game. But it's like, there's just something missing. There was just something missing to this game that makes me want to learn how to play it more. Maybe it's also because of the fact, again, I can't train with people that I used to know, because, again, when I get good at something, then people don't want to play with me because it's not as much fun. So I'm like, fair, fine, whatever, I guess I'll do a solo venture. But if there's nobody online to play with, then I'm just like, why am I still playing this game? And that's basically how I am. Then, I guess, the next fighting game, I guess, that would have came out that year was the big one. That's right, Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl. No, I'm so sorry. Okay, first of all, let me just say that I'm really sad that game kind of just died on release because of companies not understanding that, hey, you know what's really good in a fighting game? Having options and not taking away a bunch of things that are kind of mandatory for a game like that to exist. Like, imagine having a game that had no costumes, no voice acting, and so everything kind of felt weird and static, like, oh, this is like this is a beta, right? We're not paying full price for this, right? Needless to say, it was fun to play it for like half a month it came out before Sora and Smash came out, and then basically that game didn't exist on the Switch anymore, which is the one I bought it on, so boo-hoo. It's still a fun game. I just wish that it would have lasted a lot longer, but to each their own. I mean, I was also then dabbling back in Smash for a little bit because I was like, man, I like both of these games. I mean, I just wish this new one would have not literally fallen off the face of the earth because they said, yo, let's not get voice acting for this game and make everybody just randomly mute. Let's not make any modes that would engage any crossover type stuff and just make it's just a fighting game, bro. But whatever, I digress. But now that brings us to finally the one that, of course, I'm here to talk about. Yes, and that is Melty Blood Type Lumina. Now this came back out in September the 1st? Yeah, I believe so. Which was kind of close to when Mario Party came out, and also when... No, or was it the end of September? Because I remember that WarioWare also came out and I bought that as well. Either way, I bought and played that, and I got addicted. I messed around and I got addicted, and now I'm just like Dark Horse, that song. Anyways, but no, seriously, I cannot say enough good things about Melty Blood. Because the thing about Melty Blood that makes it actually a lot more fun and interesting as a game is that it allows you to have so many options after the gate that you don't even have to really use to win matches. But if you learn how to utilize them and how to most accelerate your gameplay with your character that you decide to choose to play, then you become all that more better. And how much that the game kind of took me under its wing and said, listen, there's a lot of systems here that you may not understand, but once you understand them, it will click. And I'm like, okay, I trust you, game, because you seem like the best version of Under Night Ember with any of the new high-paced like fighting games. Listen, I know that what you're gonna say next. Didn't Guilty Gear Strive come out? Listen. Guilty Gear is a game that I looked at several times and said, man, I really wish I liked this type of fighting game, but I really don't like how low energy it feels and how you can basically use one move to kind of just do everything you want. I mean, it's not like as fast-paced or as struggle-heavy as like the Melty Blood or Yunez or Dragon Ball Fighters, because I would be more inclined to play that more than I'd be inclined to play like, I don't know, Mortal Kombat. I dabbled in Tekken with my oldest roommate that I had, but at the end of the day, we didn't really stick on that for too long, because I probably could have learned that one if I decided to dedicate myself and my time to it, but we didn't play that one too much either, because I was starting to adapt and learn how to play it, and, you know, like I said before, when I get too good at something, people get upset, and then I don't want to make them play it because they probably won't put the same amount of effort into it, and I don't want them to just get bad playing a game, so I digress. But with Type Lumina, alright, so this is basically the timeline. So once Type Lumina came out, I broke down and I bought it. Around the time I was pretty broke, so I was like, this game I think I can at least squeeze 20 plus hours in it. And maybe I'll get bored, but at least I know I can get 20 or some hours in it. Needless to say, we're almost about 100 hours in, and I'm like, dude, why am I not tired of this game? And why, when I lose, I actually feel like I want to play and get better? This is basically what I would call the Melty effect, where I'm like, things are starting to heat up. Please like and subscribe to the video so I can stop making these puns. But anyways, genuinely, I was ecstatic to know that this was the fighting game for me. The gameplay, the way that it flows, a lot of the ideas and stuff, and like the ideology with this game meshed with how I like playing games. So again, this game has 2 meters. Both of them are easy to explain, as one uses EX moves and one uses special moves. And I'm like, okay, that's easy. But then it's like, but once you learn how to utilize your EX into your supers and being able to overwhelm people by being like multi-managing both of your meters to be like, okay, if I do this, then I can get this back at this rate, and then you can do this and that and this. And again, you're probably looking at footage of it in the background as I'm speaking, because, like I said, I do enjoy this game so much that I actually got pretty high up in the rankings, and I actually impressed a few people with my skills on how my combos go, which is my whole thing, because I'm just like, it's cool. One thing, it's cool to win games repeatedly by doing whatever you want, but it's also really cool to like do something really stylish and people be like, okay, I'm taking interest in this game because you just did a combo that I did not think would have been possible, and I think that's really funny and cool. So for me, that's also like the thing that made me really like this game, being like, whoa, I've finally gotten to a point with a fighting game where I'm actually making people impressed and wanting to play a fighting game. And I will shill this fighting game until my dying breath. Because Melty Blood, probably by the time this video comes out, or maybe later, who knows. By the time this video comes out, the first wave of DLC, which will be an alternate take on the character I play, Noelle, should be coming out to everybody relatively soon, and within the month or so of this recording. But for me personally, I've never been more felt like I was a part of the fighting game community than this one, which is good for me because, again, I've tried to get into many fighting game communities beforehand because I wanted to play with certain people that I had met a while back. So, you know, for me, I was just like, it finally felt great that I can share my love and my desire for wanting to learn fighting games and actually put in the time and the commitment and be like, every time I come back to this game, I can't be mad because I'm just like, it feels like second nature to me, which is kind of crazy. Because the only other game I could say that felt like for me as a fighting game was Smash. And now that Smash Brothers Ultimate is over, and I mean, I was always on and off with Smash Brothers Ultimate because, again, the same problem that I have with most fighting games is that one person gets really too much, or somebody gets too good, and other people don't want to get better, or they don't have the power to get better. So then then you feel bad for asking to play that game, so then you just kind of just don't play it anymore. And playing against randoms in Smash kind of makes me feel some sort of way, rather than Melty Blood, where I can say, yeah, I lost in a fair way in Melty Blood, and I didn't get cheesed, or I didn't feel like that person was egging me on to get upset or anything. I was like, nah. But in Smash, nah. I don't care what you say. That game is tilting for all the wrong reasons, and it makes me sad because I really want to enjoy that game more, but like I just don't have the capacity as I used to like it. And it's not even like I won't play it anymore, or that I don't have fun when I do play it. It's more just the fact that I think because of me actually going out of my way and playing other fighting games, I appreciate other fighting games a lot more, and I appreciate Smash a lot more as well. But in the sense that I'm like, it's okay that I don't want to play Smash anymore and I want to branch out, because what Smash has done to me at least has made me curious enough to go into these other franchises or look at these other fighting games in general and just be like, yeah, you know what, I'm willing to like embrace these other franchises that I probably wouldn't have at all. I suppose at the end of the day, even though I am a person who plays fighting games, I'm not a very angry gamer. Like I said, if I have a good day, then I know I'm having a good day. But when I have an off day, I don't play very long. But also above that, I feel like me losing in a fighting game such as Melty Blood, where I feel like I have the most control over my character and what I can do during a match, makes me feel like, hey, if I made a mistake, I know I made a mistake. And if somebody's playing super well, I say that, wow, they're playing super well. And I gotta gas up and not just play autopilot like I usually would in any other video game, right? So I'm just like, man, this game genuinely is like my epiphany moment that I'm like, after a whole year of learning how to play fighting games and appreciating them, I finally hit a game that I'm just like, this is my fighting game that I will cherish for like the next several years until until the scene either dies or until I find another game that I'm just interested in overall that I can just go on my leisure time and play. But yeah, if you guys ever wanted to play Melty Blood or learn how to play Melty Blood, please hit me up either in the comments or on my Twitter DMs or whatever. I'm just gonna say this, I would appreciate playing any of you or teaching any of you how to get into this fighting game or any fighting game for that matter, because to me, I do think it's very important that networking for games that you usually wouldn't enjoy is like the biggest reason why you would go into these games to begin with. For now, I'm trying to think what's the next genre I might want to try to focus on this year by trying to do. And I'm kind of leaning towards maybe want to learning FPS. First-person shooters or third-person shooters, because, again, I haven't touched the shooter until, like, literally a couple of years ago. And since I'm so far behind on that, maybe that's going to be the next thing I'm going to start teaching myself how to play, so I can start appreciating that medium. And maybe that will be the next video that you'll see at the beginning of next year, because, again, I gotta thank Blaze Blue Cross Tag and now Melty Blood for being those two games that got me into the scene, that made me improve as a person who had no experience with fighting games up until this point other than Smash, and now appreciates them in the integrity and the hard work and the dedication that people must put in to get super, super good, but also that allows it to be accessible and more fun and free-flowing. It allows so much creativity with your own playstyle that makes you happy and enjoy the sort of games and the sort of adventures and stories and stuff you can tell with them. Well, with that long tangent out of the way, I would like to thank you all for listening to me go on about Melty Blood and all these other fighting games I played last year. I don't think I'm gonna make this a quote-unquote yearly thing. I just made that joke because I was like, oh, you know, last year I did this exact same video before I started making content again. Isn't that wacky and inventive? No. But I'm joking with myself because honestly, I just thought it was very nice to tell you guys that after basically learning how to play all kinds of different fighting games since last year, I'm just like, yeah, I understand fighting games now and why people like them. And I'm just like, I hope that I can continue to keep providing some of that content maybe on this channel or in my live streams, because, again, follow me on Twitch TV if you want to see me live stream. Because I do stream there. I stream there somewhat irregularly, as long as I have my other video content done, and then I also don't have real life stuff going on. I try to stream there. I try to stream some PS4 stuff, but mostly I try to stream Switch and GameCube stuff because I have that ability now. But, you know, if anybody was to ask me to play a game of Melty with them, I'm not going to turn them down, because I genuinely think Melty is just a fun game to play in general, and I think it's one of the most intensifying things that I've ever done in my life, because this is finally the first time that I broke through that fighting games can be fun, and it's not just about being competitive. It's about literally learning for yourself what makes you enjoy a certain type of character in a game that makes you feel like you're on the top of the world, how good it feels to learn all the different matchups, and how accessible it is. Because honestly, I was trying to teach my old roommate how to play it, and when we played, he actually was taking some games off of me without even having that much practice, which means I'm happy that he at least has now learned to wanting to further himself in that game too, just like me. So hopefully we'll be playing again at some point again, because I think he can literally probably beat my ass once he started to learn a little bit more. But you know, I appreciate it a lot. And I appreciate you guys for sticking this long into the video. Hey, you, yeah. You see that graph? I don't know if I have a graph, but you see that graph right over there? Right now, I would like, if you guys like my content enough to listen to this far in the video, hey, do you mind just hitting that like button and the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed? I try to do content like this and all of this other Let's Play stuff, and I have about almost, like, I don't know, almost 2,000 videos worth of content uploaded to this channel. So there's probably something that you might like if you stick around. I do these Let's Talks every once in a while because I do like just talking about video games like a podcast, and just, you know, talking about what I like and what I discovered about games. So if you're ever interested in listening to another one of these, I kind of do them infrequently. I don't have a set amount of time frame. It's just I do it when I do it, and if you listen when I make them, that's good. But yeah, I'm really awkward with this because I haven't really self-promoted myself since I've been doing this channel for 10 years. But in any case, my lovely child of the internet, that has been all for me. And next time when I see you guys, I should either be back in Shin Megami Tensei 5 land, or should be getting ready for our adventures on the farmlands of Rune Factory 5. But in either way, thank you so much for watching. I have been Multi126789, other known as Multi-Man, and I'll catch you lovely childs of the internet next time. So ciao, until then.